beautiful souls. We have a lot going on for this month. Lots of major changes happening coming up for the month of March. We're going to have a lunar eclipse taking place on March 14th, as well as a solar eclipse taking place on March 29th. Let's get into this. We're going to first talk about what's going to happen with these eclipses and how they affect us. Then we're going to talk about how it's going to affect us on a global level, because remember, with eclipse energy, everyone's affected. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. Everyone's affected by eclipses. It doesn't matter. So let's also talk about the fact that you guys should check your sun. Obviously, the sun's involved. You're going to check the moon, and you can check your rising sign. Also, let's also look at the important dates of the fact that Venus already went retrograde March 1st, and it's going to be retrograde until April 12th, which could mean a lot of X returning into your life, okay? This will be pretty intense for you guys, and you may re-examine your passions, your sensitivities, your spiritual alignments in relationships. And also, let's not forget, Mercury retrograde is on March 14th, and it's going to be taking place till April 6th. Mercury retrograde can help you reflect on past professional decisions and adjustments to your approach, and also remember, it affects electronics and also can bring people back from the past. Okay, so get ready for this month. Eclipses are considered very powerful events that can bring about significant changes, both positive and negative, and are believed to accumulate the energies of the planets and houses involved. They are often seen as a time of heightened activity and potential upheaval, marking the beginnings and endings of cycles. Eclipses causes things that are stagnant in our lives to change, and usually in a very shocking way. It makes us re-examine our lives in a different way. Eclipses can be a blessing in disguise because it clears the way for new beginnings in our lives. The timing of the effects of the eclipse varies depending on whether we are dealing with a solar or lunar eclipse. And by the way, this month it's going to be both. We're going to have a lunar and then a solar eclipse. Usually solar eclipses tend to be triggered by external events and are usually felt or manifested 6 months after the eclipse takes place. Alternatively, the lunar eclipse may be experienced emotionally within 3 months of the lunar eclipse. So let's talk about it, guys. The first eclipse that we'll be dealing with will be the lunar eclipse happening on March 14th. Lunar eclipse involves the moon, which is a time for inner reflection and interchange. So basically, a lot of the change that's going to happen for us is going to be internal. Because remember, what do I always tell you guys about the sun card and the moon card? The moon card is that meditative time, you know, that time for inner reflection. So a lot of the things are going to happen to us in a very emotional state. It's going to be dealing with our intuition, okay? It's going to be dealing with an internal level. Whereas, and the moon does connect with the feminine, the womb space is associated with emotions, intuition, the darker parts of our psyche that we don't often feel or support or explore. And being as though this is under a blood moon, we are invited to celebrate the feminine energies that live within us, all to honor the sacredness of creation and destruction. Now, whereas the solar eclipse, the moon card is the inner card, the sun is the outer card. Okay, so the outer place of us. Just like if you think about how nighttime energy is, you can't see things clearly, right? And the moon is out, but it's not like so clear like the moon card energy. And then you see the sun is happiness and it's shining, all light. And so it's an external energy. So let's get into the lunar eclipse and what's going to happen. And I also did pull some cards here, and I want to talk about it because it's very strange what I got for the lunar eclipse, considering that it's in Virgo. So March 14th is the lunar eclipse. This lunar eclipse in Virgo, ruled by Mercury, which we are going through Mercury retrograde, let's not forget that. The emphasis is on the discernment of organization, self-improvement. Okay, it highlights areas needing reconstructing, particularly regarding health, daily routines, because this is dealing with the 6th house. Virgo is 6th house. So it's health, healing, routines, everyday work. So also, let's not forget about the fact that it's going to, since we're going, it's also a Mercury ruled sign, it's going to be dealing with aspects of communication and adaptability and, you know, addressing some of the processes and thinking here. So, and Virgo really makes you really analyze things, think about things, being critical of things, putting a critical eye on things. So we're looking at the overall energy of how it's going to affect the world. But I'm also going to be looking at the individual charts as well. Okay, so stay tuned for that. So this eclipse could highlight or issues around education, healthcare, community systems, problem solvings, and health, and how someone approaches their health and fitness and what health issues they might be susceptible to, and how someone approaches their job, work environment, and work ethic. It's also going to make us re-examine routines, right? How someone organizes their daily life and balances work and personal needs. Okay, so I want to go into now what I found out as far as the cards go. What I found out was it's going to be dealing with interpersonal relationships, and particularly it's going to be dealing with issues around money and major changes and improvements in those areas, and our commitments. Our commitments to, also it's going to be dealing with our recognition, all right, our being noticed, recognized. Actually, it seems to me, from what I can see from the cards, from this particular aspect of the lunar eclipse, it's actually going to affect us in a positive way. And we're going to get into the solar eclipse. The solar eclipse is a little bit more interesting, and I'll talk about that in a second here. But the lunar eclipse seems to be affecting us with our work, money, big changes, big surprises, improvements in our commitments, and lots to do with our recognition, but good news, okay? So I feel like this is going to be more of a positive energy here. So, but let's go into now the solar eclipse, all right? This eclipse is a partial solar eclipse which would be visible on March 29th, 2025, which will be in the sign of Pisces. Some of the areas which could affect us in our lives for the solar eclipse, well, obviously we're dealing with the sun. So the sun can affect our confidence, our courage, our strength, things that bring us happiness, right? And it's also the representation of the father in our chart, our natal chart. The sun also controls the ego, the willpower, and the sense of self. So being as though it's in the sign of Pisces, it could suggest endings, transformations, and people around the globe could feel like uncomfortable with the sense of change, and things could be uprooted, right? So let's just talk about the sign of Pisces. Pisces is a water sign and a water element associated with feelings. Now we're talking about a fire element and a water element. It's not going to feel too comfortable, right? Many planets in Pisces reveal deeper emotions, and dramatic changes can easily cause us to feel insecure and overwhelmed. Okay? Pisces is the sign of liberation, and it is a time that can be very powerful. It can be a spiritual perspective, which is very interesting because I do see that also when I pull the cards on it. The surface of the sea may show ripples and crashes and waves, making it hard to remain calm and centered. Okay? But remember that there are a stillness, and there's also going to be a light at the end of the storm, basically. And meditation is going to help us in this situation because we're dealing with the aspect of Pisces energy. And it can talk about, and interesting enough, what I'm seeing here is in the cards, it's showing that there is some kind of hidden agenda. And what is Pisces energy but something that's beneath the surface? Past life, okay? Things that are hidden, things to do with surrendering, letting go, and also could be hidden enemies as well, because it's interesting because I see that there's something hidden here about some kind of hidden agendas here. Like, it seems like there's like things going on for the world that we're not seeing, and that there's something going on behind the surface that is going to be revealed. That's what it looks like to me. And a lot of it, we're going to realize that we're really naive about some things, and there's going to be a sense of defeated energy about that. But actually, there is a blessing here around this. There's a blessing here. Because someone's going to be, there's some issues around pride around this. there's going to be a rejection of these things, which is actually what's going to bring these hidden agendas to the surface because of prideful energy. And then there's going to be a risk taken. It's going to be more in the place of wanting to take a risk, being more adventurous. And it's actually going to form friendships and alliances here, which will help actually in the future for long-term growth is what I see, okay, with the Seven of Pentacles energy. Long-term growth here out of this. So even though we're going to find out about some hidden agendas, some backhand stuff going on here, because of the fact that some people are going to be prideful, that is actually what's going to bring it to the surface, this prideful energy, which actually will help people to understand really what's going on, which will allow people to take a different path and to realign towards friendships, alliances, and collaborations that will help grow the future. So very interesting energy there about what's going on with this solar eclipse. Now I'm going to get into the individual signs, okay? So we got Aries. So Aries, with your energy, the lunar eclipse will be taking place in your 6th house of health and healing, routines, and exercise. The solar eclipse will be taking place in your 12th house, which contains all the things of, your soul. It deals with meditation, exploring the unconscious mind, and eclipses in the 12th house also indicates that you will be needing to spend more time alone. This is going to be a good time for you guys to focus on your spiritual practices, okay? So it's going to make you, for the lunar part of it, it's going to make you re-examine your routines, your health, and your work in general. And for the solar eclipse, it's going to make you go deeper within yourself and maybe even have a new spiritual practice and maybe even want to spend more time alone. Okay. All right, Aries, if you guys like it this way, you want me to continue this way, hit that like button. Let me know in the comments below. All right, now we're moving on to our Tauruses. Hello, my beautiful Tauruses. Let's talk about the lunar eclipse in your chart. So the lunar eclipse will be taking place in your 5th house. So there's going to be a revelation for you about your love life, and you may even come into some clarity. This is going to be a full moon and total lunar eclipse, which will rise in your 5th house of pleasures and self-expression. So as remember, the 5th house is creativity, like anything you create. Could even be children, okay? And gambling and risk-taking and those kinds of things. So your creative endeavors. It's going to reveal that there may be a possible change of heart. So you're going to definitely be dealing with this aspect of a change of heart in romance or your creative endeavors. You may be questioning whether or not, the spark that's gotten you motivated to be creative may be relit, or you may reconnect in a different way. It may be a time for you to release things in your life. And also this solar eclipse will be taking place in the sign of the 11th house for you guys, in the sign of Pisces, which deals with your network circles, fulfillment of desires, and network gains. The 11th house is the house of friendships. This is the house of group participation and shared creativity. Eclipses in the 11th house can often indicate changes in our relationships with our peers and our friends. So it's going to reveal a lot about what's going on in that area. So I would say for you guys, seeing as though it's Pisces there, Pisces talks about really doing some deep reflection on your inner circle, right? And there may be some areas where you maybe want to feel like you don't want to deal with your network circles, that you may want to isolate yourself or separate yourself for some of the people that you're dealing with in a current situation. Also, this may make you have more spiritual network circles too. If you think about it, the 11th house is your network circles, and we're talking about Pisces being there. So there may be, maybe you may connect with people or even feel that you want to do some type of charity work, because that's the 11th house. All right, my beautiful Tauruses, I love you guys so much. If you guys like it this way, you want me to continue this way, hit that like button. Let me know in the comments below. All right, my beautiful Geminis, let's take a look at how this lunar and solar eclipse is going to be affecting you this month. This lunar eclipse will be taking place in your 4th house. So this full moon total lunar eclipse will be in your 4th house of house, home, and family, revealing where your personal life currently stands. So it's going to make you reevaluate your personal life, because when we're dealing with eclipse energy, it causes massive shocks and surprises, major changes. You may be preparing for a big move, right? Because we're talking about real estate, house, home, all right? Whether that be new dwelling or new location or new family dynamic. Whatever the changes may be, it's definitely pushing you out of your comfort zone. Now, the solar eclipse will be taking place in your 10th house. Now, that deals with career, right? Recognition, the public. This eclipse will influence your 10th house of career, status, and public image. It may bring career breakthroughs or a change to rethink your profession. All right, my beautiful Geminis, I hope you guys like it this way. If you guys like it this way, you want me to continue this way, hit that like button. Let me know in the comments below. All right, Cancer, we're going to be talking about your chart now, which deals with, first we're going to talk about the lunar eclipse, then we're going to talk about the solar eclipse and how it's affecting you. So the lunar eclipse will be a full moon lunar eclipse, total lunar eclipse, which will rise in your 3rd house of communication, which may force you to have an uncomfortable and even challenging conversations. It's time to finally face those facts, even if it has conflicts in what you believe. You may also be receiving news about a friend, a sibling, or a cousin that changes your dynamic for them. So let's also talk about how this solar eclipse is going to affect you. The solar eclipse is going to be affecting your 9th house of higher education, spirituality, and long-distance travel. Spiritual growth, higher learning, and international connections are highlighted for you. This can also be a great time for personal transformation and letting go of old beliefs. All right, my beautiful Cancers, if you guys like it this way, you want me to continue this way, hit that like button. Let me know in the comments below. All right, now we're moving on to our Leos. Okay, so Leo, we're first going to talk about the lunar eclipse, then we're going to talk about the solar eclipse. So the lunar eclipse is taking place on March 14th, and the solar eclipse is taking place on March 29th. A full moon total lunar eclipse will be rising in your 2nd house of money and self-esteem, which could mean a change in your financial status. While you may be dealing with a loss, it will always come with a gain, even if it isn't apparent at first. You may also be learning where and how to let down your guard and take a risk on something that challenges your comfort levels. Now let's talk about how this solar eclipse that's going to be taking place on March 29th is going to be affecting you. The eclipse falls in your 8th house of transformation, inheritance, and deep psychological matters. It's also the house of passion, secrets, okay, transformational changes there. There can bring about powerful transformational insights and clarity on financial matters, especially in joint resources or debts. It's a good time to resolve deep-seated fears. Yeah, that's also the house of fears. Make profound personal changes. Okay, so this is a good time for big changes for you guys. Like, remember, the 8th house is kind of like the phoenix. Like, you kind of basically, you're leveling the playing field, and then you're going to rise above from that. All right, my beautiful Leos. If you guys like it this way, you want me to continue this way, hit that like button. Let me know in the comments below. All right, now we're moving on to our Virgos. So Virgo, this is going to be a lunar eclipse happening on March 14th. And then we're going to talk about the solar eclipse happening on March 29th. So let's first talk about the lunar eclipse. The lunar eclipse is a full moon total lunar eclipse, which actually will be in Virgo. So it's actually profoundly affecting you. Plus also we got Mercury retrograde, which affects you guys. And it could emphasize these big relationship changes, shining a light on all the ways you've changed and whether your needs are being met. You may be approaching a relationship pattern or shared dynamic from the past and showing signs of growth. More than often, the hardest decisions also the best ones. So you're going to be examining yourself, basically. Routines of yourself and your whole image is really what you're going to be very critical of, okay? How you're viewed in the world, because that's the 1st house for you guys. So let's talk about the solar eclipse, okay, which is in Pisces, which is going to be happening on March 29th. This eclipse will influence your 7th house of partnerships, marriage, and open enemies, okay? If you're in a committed relationship, you may experience a shift in a relationship dynamic, possibly leading to deeper emotional connections or a reconciliation. Collaborations and partnerships may be revisited and re-examined, especially if you're looking for balance and harmony. All right, my beautiful Virgos, if you guys like it this way, you want me to continue this way, hit that like button. Let me know in the comments below. All right, Libras, we're going to be looking at the eclipse energy, which is first the lunar eclipse of March 14th, and then the solar eclipse, which is March 29th. So let's first look at the lunar eclipse. So for the lunar eclipse, it's going to be a full moon total lunar eclipse, which will rise in your 12th house of subconscious truths, bringing forth game changers and revolutionary changes for you guys. But you shouldn't forget to give yourself a moment to remember everything you need to know by reconnecting with your spiritual practices and analyzing your dreams and embracing your introspection of things, okay? So now, how the solar eclipse is going to affect you, Libra, is it's going to affect your 6th house of health, work, and daily routine. This is a time to focus on wellness and resetting your habits, improving your work efficiency. With this Mercury retrograde, it can offer an opportunity to resolve past health issues or revisit your work system that needs improvement. So being as though it being on your 6th house, it's really going to highlight those areas of your everyday working aspects, and also re-examining your health and where you're going with that. And there's going to be major changes there, major shock and surprise. Remember, whenever the eclipse energy happens, it clears things away for new beginnings in those areas. So if you have a routine, you don't feel like you're on schedule, it's going to be a reevaluating of that, right? This day-to-day work thing, maybe you're going to reevaluate what's going on with that. Some of you guys may feel like, well, maybe I want to work from home, you know? So there's going to be because Pisces is the energy of wanting isolation, separation, okay? A lot of introspections here. All right, my beautiful Libras, if you guys like it this way, you want me to continue this way, hit that like button. Let me know in the comments below. All right, my beautiful Scorpios, we're going to now be talking about how this eclipse energy is going to be affecting you for the month of March. And the first lunar eclipse is taking place March 14th, and then the solar eclipse is taking place March 29th. There's going to be a full moon total lunar eclipse, which will rise in your 11th house of community affairs and future visions, showing you how your commitment to yourself may come to you at a cost of your connections to the outer world. This sacrifice may unfold in your love life or in relationships, asking you to find balance between your lifelong dreams and your short-term desires. Because remember, the 11th house is the house of wish fulfillment. Most people don't know that. Well, the 11th house is the house of, that's the fulfillment of your wishes house, right? And yours is in Virgo, and this is where the big changes is going to happen. So you're going to be reevaluating here, because also it's the house of charity work, network circles, okay? So, and network gains. So you're going to be looking at your desires and examining, okay, is it aligned? So let's also talk about what's going to happen with your solar eclipse here, which is going to be taking place on March 29th. Now, the solar eclipse is interesting because it's going to be affecting your house of romance. This will be activating your house of romance, but creativity and children. That's the 5th house. You may find creative inspiration or innovative ways to express yourself. There could also be unexpected developments in the matter of romance or children, Scorpio. So prepare yourself. Get ready for some big changes here in this area. All right, my beautiful Scorpios, if you guys like it this way, you want me to continue this way, hit that like button. Let me know in the comments below. All right, now we're moving on to our Sagittariuses. Sagittarius, there's going to be 2 eclipses coming up this month. One is going to be on March 14th, which will be a lunar eclipse, full lunar eclipse. And the second one will be a partial solar eclipse happening on March 29th. So let's talk about it. The full moon lunar eclipse will rise in your 10th house of career and public image, which could reveal where your ambitions are clashing with your responsibilities at home. You could experience a change of status at work, such as a promotion, or even you may examine it where you may stay the same, or they may demote. Okay, so be aware that could happen. Okay, no matter what happens, trust that all is meant to lead you on the right path, the one that you're destined to take. Okay, so let's also take a look at your solar eclipse. Remember, I did tell you when I was looking in the cards for everyone what was going to happen. I did see this lunar eclipse more as a positive change, even though I have to mention that for you guys. I do see lots of positive changes here happening for this lunar eclipse. So let's talk about the solar eclipse. The solar eclipse concerns me a little bit more just because there's a lot of hidden things that are going to come to the surface here. So the solar eclipse, which influences your 4th house of home, and emotional security, also is real estate, by the way. You may experience unexpected changes or renovations in your house, leading to a sense of renewal in your living space. It's a good time to focus on your emotional foundation and make changes that bring you peace. So, as you can see, that is going to be an area of your life here, your house, your home, the place where you stay, and also that is like your also represents, the 4th house represents your mother. So there could be some emotional upheavals in around that area as well for you guys. Okay, so just be aware of that. All right, my beautiful Sagittarius, if you guys like it this way, you want me to continue this way, hit that like button. Let me know in the comments below. All right, let's move on to our Capricorns. So Capricorns, there's going to be 2 eclipses coming up. One is going to be on March 14th, which will be a full lunar eclipse. The other one will be on March 29th, will be a partial solar eclipse. Okay, so let's get into what is going to happen with you guys for your particular chart here. So this will be a full moon total lunar eclipse, which will rise in your 9th house of expansion adventure, forcing you to take a step back from the nitty-gritty and see the full picture coming together. What are you trying to do? Why or what are you doing? Is it meaningful to you? What's the end goal here? You may be having an intellectual breakthrough, all right, or some kind of crisis. Remember, we're dealing with the Virgo energy, so it's making us look at things, examine things, and taking a critical eye on that particular house, right? So you're going to re-examine that, and you're going to look at the finer details. You may see things in that finer details which will help you to have a breakthrough. So let's now look at the solar eclipse. The solar eclipse deals with surrender, right? We're dealing with Pisces energy, meditation, surrender. That's the house of subconscious mind. So there's going to be a lot of things coming out for that. Let's talk about how specifically on March 29th this is going to be affecting you guys. The eclipse activates your 3rd house of communication, siblings, and short journeys. There's going to be new ideas, communications, and breakthroughs that could come your way, especially if you're involved in writing, teaching, or digital work, right? Actually, the 3rd house for my new astrologers out there, or that are learning, that is the social media house, by the way, 3rd house. All right, very interesting, right? The eclipse may also bring opportunities for personal growth through travel or social circles. Yes, the 3rd house is the house of short distance travel, whereas the 9th house is the house of long distance travel. All right, my beautiful Capricorns, I love you guys so much. If you guys like it this way, you want me to continue this way, hit that like button. Let me know in the comments below. All right, we're moving on to our Aquariuses. All right, Aquarius, we're now going to be looking at the 2 eclipses that are happening this month. One is going to be on March 14th, and the other one's going to be on March 29th. A full moon. Well, what's first one we're looking at is the lunar eclipse, which is March 14th, which is a full moon total lunar eclipse, which will rise in your 8th house of emotional and financial investments, forcing you to settle debts that may be weighing on you. You may also even be letting go of emotional attachments that no longer align with your newfound self-esteem. Don't let the toxic and alluring energy pull you back into unhealthy patterns. Now let's talk about the solar eclipse, which is in Pisces. Okay, it's a partial solar eclipse. This eclipse impacts your 2nd house of finances, possessions, and speech. Financial growth and unexpected gains are possible, especially if you're focused on long-term stability. Your values may also shift, leading to improved self-worth or new ways of making money. All right, my beautiful Aquariuses, I hope you guys like it this way. If you do, let me know. Hit that like button. Let me know in the comments below. All right, my beautiful Pisces, let's take a look what's going on with you. We're going to be looking at the 2 eclipses that are coming up. One's going to be on March 14th and one is going to be on March 29th. All right, let's take a look at how it's going to be affecting you. On March 14th, a full moon total lunar eclipse will be arise in your 7th house of partnerships, showing you where you stand in your one-on-one relationships. There's a good chance a relationship that has ran its course may be in the process of ending, forcing you to part ways for good. However, you may also be closing the chapter on a rough time in a relationship and gearing up for a new beginning. All right, now let's take a look at the partial solar eclipse happening on March 29th. The eclipse falls in your 1st house of self, physical, body, and personality. Okay, so this is all about the 1st house, all about you, your physical body, your image. This is a time for self-reinventing, especially in the terms of how you present yourself to the world. The eclipse can help you to release old patterns and start fresh with a new approach to life. So think about this, guys. Like, you know how like you have that urge sometimes in your life and you're just like, yeah, you know what? I know I have. Like, I'm like, you know what? I just feel like I want to change my hair color, like something drastic like that. Or I want to change the way that I'm like, I want to change my clothing style. So that's more or less what's going to happen here with this situation. You're going to be like wanting to improve your self-image. So this is going to be a lot about you re-examining yourself. So Mercury retrograde can also help you to reflect on past professional decisions and adjust your approach. So my beautiful darlings, if you guys like it this way, you want me to continue this way, hit that like button. Let me know in the comments below. I love you guys so much. And if you guys like it this way, you want me to continue this way, hit that like button. I'll see you guys another day or two. Have a great rest of your next couple days, and I will see you guys soon.